I will leave it to your imagination. I will not say. I don't know. I will leave it to your imagination. What this other cost is, but there are a range of things here that I will leave it to your imagination.
In this digital world, where many people depend upon experts to guide them on investments, there are a few dangerous investment advisors who run propaganda against a company's stocks to favor another company. Akshat Shrivastava is one such expert. Here is a comparison of two videos that Akshat made, one on Adani Group and the other on Mukesh Ambani Group. For beginners, let's watch the difference in Akshat's facial reactions and storyline when he speaks about the same business model, but implemented by two different corporate groups, Adani and Ambani. Watch his video on Reliance first, and Akshat's choice of words.
So there is a reason why I am investing so heavily in Reliance over the last 10 months. The reason is very simple, that I feel that Reliance is going to convert its business model, which it currently stands in the petrochemical space, to becoming a major tech player. As a result, its valuation will go up, and as a result, its profits will go up, and as a result, as a retail investor, I might end up making a lot of funds. But take a look at this chart from Ticker Tape, and it encapsulates the sentiments really well. And this shows the growth of Adani Green. So you can clearly see that over the last 3.5-4 years, Adani Green has given a run-up of roughly 9,000%. These are like crazy numbers. So naturally, you should ask yourself a question that, okay, hey, why is it that Adani stocks are growing? Is there some fundamental reasons at play? Should I be taking more positions in Adani stock for me to make more money?
When he speaks about the stock prices of Adani Group of Companies, he seeds speculations in the minds of investors by raising these questions. Akshat gives it all away by comparing the Adani Group with the Russian oligarch. At this time of Ukraine-Russian war, when Russia is ruthlessly killing hundreds of Ukraine civilians, Akshat compares the great Indian democracy with the Russian oligarchic and authoritarian system merely for attacking Adani. This shows how low he could go in his hit job on Adani. That he is even ready to tarnish the image of Indian democracy. Now, all of us know that the Russian oligarchs are as opportunistic as Akshat. They made use of the Soviet Union dissolution to make rapidly accumulated wealth in the 1990s via the Russian privatization. But in India, when Manmohan Singh launched economic liberalization in 1991, our country was among the world's biggest recipients of aid. Today, India is a net aid donor, having committed $30.6 billion to Asian neighbors and Africa. In 1991, India's per capita income was just $360 a year, overtaken by several miracle economies of Asia. 3 decades later, India's per capita income has risen up to $2,100. GDP has grown on average at 7% per year for 2 decades, making India a miracle economy too. Firstly, India espoused liberalization, privatization and globalization in the early 90s, because the license permit Raj till 1980s kept India's annual growth at 3.5% only. In this video, he was celebrating Reliance for its cross-functional businesses.
So Reliance has this massive ability to pivot to different businesses. Similarly, Reliance has entered Reliance Fresh. It has entered into constructed special economic zones. So there is just no end to the network that Reliance is building, and it just keeps on experimenting with different set of businesses. Now what this leads to is called as cross-learning across different industries.
But when it comes to Adani, he takes a contradictory stand. He states that Adani Group is not capable of cross-learning across different industries to run multiple businesses, and so the stock performances were not potentially legitimate.
Take a look at this excellent chart, which encapsulates the entire sentiments that are going behind the Adani stocks. So you can clearly see that something like Adani Green is trading at a PE of roughly 1100 if you compare it to its peer, which is Tata Power. Tata Power trades at PE of 47. Similarly, if you take a look at Adani Wilmar, its PE is 123. Marico, which is its competitor, its PE is 55. Similarly, if you take a look at Adani Gas, the PE is 473, and if you compare it with something like Indraprastha Gas, which is its peer, the PE is 18.
In this video, Akshat shows a self-made infographic chart where he compares Adani Group of Companies with very small players. Why was Adani Group not compared with Reliance and Tata Group directly? Why was it just compared with low-performing company? As he said, the price-to-earnings ratio of all Adani Group companies is higher in comparison to their competitors in their respective sectors. Unlike their competitors, Adani Group has well-structured business models, integrated with long-term investment plans, assured scope for profitability, and cross-sectoral business expansions. Here is a snapshot of the kind of foreign investors who have put in big money into Adani's renewable energy businesses. Let's run you through all the facts and vital factors behind the Adani stock performances. Gautam Adani has committed to invest $70 billion to create the world's largest clean energy ecosystem in India. In this month alone, Abu Dhabi's international holding company, IHC, has invested $2 billion in 3 green energy-focused companies, Adani Green Energy, Adani Transmissions, and Adani Enterprises. Has partnered with Ballard to manufacture hydrogen fuel cells in India, and with 2 Japanese companies IHI and Covert, to replace coal with liquid ammonia to power their thermal power plants. Adani Total Gas is setting up 1,500 electric vehicle charging stations across India. You can notice one thing in common. All his future investments and plans are towards climate resilience and sustainability. So far, Adani Group has spent $12 billion in the past 8 years. The group has around 4,920 megawatts renewable energy generation capacity and 5,124 megawatts is under development. The Adani Group's flagship company Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone Limited is the biggest private sector issuer of foreign bonds from India. It has successfully raised over $5 billion in the past 5 years across 9 bond issuances. Other major overseas bond issuers from the Adani Group include Adani Transmission Limited and Adani Green Energy Limited, which raised $2.29 billion and $1.61 billion, respectively. But in his video, Akshat not only hid all this information, but gave a conspiratorial color while referring to foreign players who have invested in Adani Group companies.
Now, as we are witnessing the rise of Adani's as a global empire, what has started to happen is that a lot of international expansion has started to happen, and a lot of foreign investors are also putting in money in the Adani Group. Now, please don't get excited thinking that these foreign investors are legitimate. I don't know. I'm not getting there, and I'm not going to have that level of conversation.
If we ask him why, he will just say, "I leave it to your imagination." Then misleadingly Akshat compares Adani Enterprises with Coal India, not informing the viewer that Adani Enterprises has a diverse range of businesses under its belt. Here is a list of companies that are part of Adani Enterprises. Adani Roads Transport Limited, Adani Airports Holdings Limited, Adani Connect Data Centers, Adani Digital Labs. Then how can you compare Adani Enterprises with Coal India, which just engages in the business of coal mining and distribution alone? India is facing a looming power crisis, as stocks of coal in power plants have fallen to unprecedentedly low levels and states are warning of power blackouts.
Degrees higher than the usual. In fact, it was the hottest March in 122 years, and that's the reason we are seeing an increased demand as far as electricity goes, and it's the fastest growth we are expecting in 38 years. However, the supply has not been able to meet the demand because the coal inventories are sitting at just 8 days, and this is very low when it comes to the entire country level.
Not to forget, Adani Group was the only company which can still ensure lights are on in our homes, with its globally connected end-to-end businesses from mining, transportation, distribution and power production. Then Akshat mischievously tries to link the growth of Adani businesses with politics, and stating that the ruling party favor his businesses to win government tenders. But evidence shows Gautam Adani has built his businesses bid by bid in an era of transparent, competitive bidding. Look at this comparative chart where you can see Adani's bids on per passenger share to GOF by the operator. No other competitor can match Adani Group's bids. For example, in a bid to Ahmedabad Airport, GMR bid was 85 rupees, AMP Capital bid was 127 rupees, Zurich Airport bid was 146 rupees, and Adani Group bid was 177 rupees, way higher than the Zurich Airport, second highest bidder. Adani has got contracts in auctions for green energy, airports, city gas distribution and transmission lines. Which means cheaper electricity and gas and more revenue to the GOF. If one charts the growth trajectory of Adani, one will see a man who had a grand vision for India and showed immense faith in the Indian growth story. When established business groups shied away from investing in ports and logistics, Adani took the plunge by setting up Adani Ports in Mundra. He showed immense faith in India's growth potential. The time has proven him right, and he does deserve every bit of his success. Mundra Port handles the largest cargo volumes in India, beating Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust in Mumbai. The company has built ports and related facilities at Mundra, Tuna Tikra, Dahej, Hazira, Mormugao, Vishakhapatnam and Ennur. APSEZ has also emerged as the lone bidder to build the port superstructure and operate Vizhinjam International Multipurpose Seaport. Adani Transmissions is one of India's largest private sector transmission companies. It owns and operates AC and DC transmission assets across 12 states. It has substations ranging from 33 kV to 765 kV voltage levels and more than 18,800 km of transmission lines. Any wonder then that the stock price has jumped more than 10,000% in 7 years? When Akshat speaks about Reliance Industries and its expansion, he does not critique the credibility of investments or its business model. Like an unabashed Reliance fanboy, he tries to persuade small investors to invest in Reliance. In some other video, Akshat is praising about Ambani's political connections and foreign investors. He invests in Reliance and does not spread any false information about it. But you can imagine why he spreads malicious lies about the businesses of Adani alone. When he talks about Adani, he never highlights the scale of international collaboration that Adani Group companies have achieved. He does not speak about the group's operation excellence and its unmatched project execution capabilities. For example, Adani Group's partnership with Google Cloud was not even ushered in by Akshat. But he was excited to highlight Reliance and Google's partnership. If we ask him why, he will just say, "I leave it to your imagination." He does not speak about the financial excellence of the group. That's how Adani Group has optimally utilized the capital and has given unmatched returns to its investors. In the video, Akshat is heard saying that he doesn't want to get involved in any legal disputes and that he is just stating facts about Adani.
I don't want to get into legal disputes, legal arguments, that. So I will make a fact-based video, but it is your responsibility to read my message between the line, and of course you.
But that is so much baloney and hogwash. By putting out misleading and malicious videos, he is hurting the Indian economy and hurting the interests of thousands of retail investors. One final point, rally in Adani Group companies not only made Gautam Adani India's richest man and surpassing global billionaires one after the other, but also made a fortune for all his investors who believed in him and his business model.